What's good, people? Thank you for choosing Total Payout Podcast. Chilling with your host, Trouble. Today's date, June 3rd, 2026. It's that time, man. We got the Larry O'Brien Trophy, man. The fight for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. We got the New York Knicks taking on the San Antonio Spurs. Pretty much a rematch from the in-season tournament where you had the Knicks beating the Spurs in Vegas. Spurs want to get back. Reading the tea leaves, they took that personal. Obviously, for us bettors out there, it was another game, but the Spurs took that personal. Reading the tea leaves, they're ready to go. They're not resting their laurels on beating the champs. They're looking at this as their moment. They're trying to seize the moment. Obviously, the Knicks probably done been to Cancun a couple times, chilling, waiting, dusting off the East, running through the East. So would the West be the best and go ahead and take New York out that misery and keep their championship? Haven't won a championship in forever, where they keep that on deck, or where New York finally get over that hump and have a Boston Red Sox, Chicago Cubs type moment and win the championship for the first time in a long time. So we're gonna go ahead and handicap this game. I will put out a series odds bet as well, as far as what I think this series will come down to. But then, like I said, I'm gonna try to go ahead and get game by game, seeing what I like. If I don't like none, I won't put nothing out, but I will rest on what I like in the series. But I'm gonna try to get to every single game and try to put out a bet on every single game, even if it's just some prop bets or whatever we can come up with. But we're gonna see what we can do and try to get all this money back, man, in one series. So let's go ahead and handicap game one. Like I said, we got the New York Knicks versus San Antonio Spurs. Head to head, last 10. Knicks 6-4 straight up last 10. They are 5-5 against the spread, so even against the spread last 10, and the over is 7-3 last 10. Now the Knicks profile 6-0 against the spread last 6, 5-0 against the spread away from home last 5, and then they're 0-5 against the spread last 5 versus the Western Conference. The Knicks are 4-11 against the spread away from home versus the West this season, and they're 22-27 against the spread away from home overall. Now, San Antonio is 11-5 against the spread last 16, 4-1 against the spread last 5 at home, 4-1 against the spread last 5 versus the Atlantic Division, and they're 11-4 against the spread at home versus the East this season, and they're 29-20 against the spread at home overall. Now, my personal line, I have San Antonio -7. Vegas has San Antonio -4.5. Now, just kind of running a quick synopsis of this series, man. Obviously, we have pretty much, to me, the same matchup. You got Wemby going against two-headed monster of Cat and Mitchell Robinson. So he's going to have to bring his A game. This is a better matchup to me, obviously. I think that Cat brings more of an offensive package. He's going to be confident. He's not going to fumble. I'm not going to say he's not going to fumble, but I don't think he's going to lack the confidence that Chet Holmgren lacked in the last series. I think Cat's going to know he has to come with it. I think he knows that pretty much majority of this series is going to rely on him being efficient and coming correct and being 100% and ready to go, and not looking at Wemby like he can stop Wemby, just trying to match him. Obviously, at this point, nobody can stop Wemby, but he can pretty much try to match Wemby and give his team his all and give him a chance. Now, at the biggest matchup that I think the Knicks have an advantage is at power forward. You have OG at power forward, very versatile, very long wingspan. Obviously, I think on defense they're going to try to stick OG on Victor, but on offense, I think he has a great mismatch over the Spurs. Spurs don't roll out a traditional power forward. I think they got Champagnie playing power forward. He cannot guard OG. I think that OG can guard him, even though I don't think he will be guarding him. I just think that the setup that they have, the Knicks, they have an advantage. If they're smart, they're going to run OG all around the court and try to get him as many looks as they can with anybody guarding him outside of Wemby. I think he has a mismatch on the Spurs. I don't think anyone on that team can guard him in length, and I don't think they can guard him based on his package, on him being able to step out and go to the post and hit the midi and rim run. Like, he can do it all, and I just don't think the Spurs have anyone that can necessarily match up height and length to stop him other than Wemby, but Wemby also has to guard other places, so I don't think they'll stick him primarily on OG. Now, at the wings, I'm not even going to go through all the names on either team. I'm just going to say, to me, honestly, I think it's a wash. The only the advantage I think San Antonio has over the Knicks is that all of their wings, to me, all have an offensive package where they can go from 3 to the rim with the dribble. I think the Knicks they don't have, to me, they have Jalen Brunson, but outside of that, I don't think Josh Hart package is great to get from 3 to the rim. Obviously, Mikal Bridges relies on the cuts and the picks, so that's just not going to work. That the Knicks got lucky playing against teams that didn't have too many players who can dribble, who can go off the dribble. The Spurs are loaded with players who can go off the dribble. That's pretty much their their plus. That's their Superman powers, that they have wings who are all versatile, who can all do the same thing. Even their fake power forwards and Keldon Johnson can also get off the dribble. So I just think that that's going to be a unique challenge for the Knicks to see if they can guard all of these players straight up with their players. Now the Knicks do have great defensive players in the starting lineup. It's the bench I'm worried about. It's the Landry Shamans of the world. It's the Jordan Clarksons of the world. It's the Jose Alvarados of the world, who I don't think going to be able to guard the Dylan Harpers, the Stephon Castles, the De'Aaron Foxes. Who's going to run around those picks guarding Vassell and at least lengthen enough on the wing. I mean, obviously, I think Mikal Bridges is going to be on Vassell. I think that's a wash right there. But other than that, I think the Spurs are going to just trample over the Knicks' wings, and it's going to be incumbent on Mitchell Robinson and Cat to guard the rim this series, and it's going to be tough because then they also have to guard Wemby and keep those fouls in check, not to guard the aliens. So it's going to be tough for me to see the Knicks employ that defense strategy that they employed against the Cavs, where they just pretty much loaded on Harden and Mitchell and forced Max Strus and all of those other players to go off the dribble, which was impossible. I think they took advantage of that. That's not going to work this series. If anything, they're going to have to force San Antonio to live on a three-point line. But even then, that's going to be hard because, like we seen in the OKC series, the Spurs, Lou Dort cannot guard any of the San Antonio guards. That's one of the best wing guards in the NBA, and he could not stand in front of not even a gimpy De'Aaron Fox. He couldn't even stand in front of De'Aaron Fox. So I don't see a lot of a lot of positive as far as wing defenders. Now I do think that OG, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges are going to have to play major minutes in this series, and they're set up to do that because they had a lot of time off. So I wouldn't be surprised if you get 40 to 43 minutes a game out of those dudes, and mainly needing them on defense to keep these players from staying out the lane. Because once Landry Shamet get in the game, and Landry Shamet is a good defender. It's the length that I'm worried about. He's a great defender. He puts in great effort, but it's the length. Jose Alvarado, great effort, length. Jordan Clarkson, no defense. Deuce McBride, effort, no length. And that's going to be the problem because you got Stephon Castle, 6'7", De'Aaron Fox, 6'5". You know what I mean? Keldon Johnson, 6'8", 6'7", 6'6". Maybe somewhere there. But he's not 6'3", like 6'2", and a fake 6'2", like a Jose Alvarado, and a 6'3", like Landry Shamet. These dudes 6'4", 6'5", 6'7". But they're rim runners and they're finishers at the rim. They're not, pulling up at the three or pulling up in the midi. All of these dudes are trying to dunk on you. Castle trying to make a poster every time. Keldon Johnson trying to make a poster. You know what I mean? So even De'Aaron Fox trying to get in there and finish with the little bunnies. And, Victor trying to make a poster. And we're going to put Victor in there too because he can go from the three to the rim with the dribble. So it's going to be tough for me to see New York employ that same strategy they did against Cleveland, against the Spurs. It's not going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and tip my hat. I'm going to take the Spurs minus 4.5 in game 1. I do think the Spurs are ready to go. Game 7, equipped. Obviously, it's a sugar high beating the champs, but I think they had an extra 2 days also. I think they sugar high maybe 1 or 2 days, but this team focused. I think the coach, got them focused. They got Pop, Tim Duncan in their corner. They got the real vets who've been there, done that in their corner, in their ear. I just think they have a unique situation where they're focused. The Knicks got it as well, but not too much nostalgia as far as champions. And so they don't. I think they're gonna have to pull from within. The coaching, I think it's a wash. Obviously, Mike Brown been there, done that. Being with the Warriors, being on San Antonio's bench to start his career, being with the Cavs, being with the Lakers. He's coached in great places, coached the best players of this era: Steph Curry, coached LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan. So I just think that Manager Ginobili, he's coached the greats, man. But he hasn't coached the greats to the promised land by himself. So I just think that he's going to have to prove that. This is his series. The Knicks did a great thing by obviously replacing Thibodeau with him. He got them to the finals, but he got to get them over the hump. If you don't get them over the hump, he's a great consolation prize, but you didn't get the big prize. So I think Mike Brown has something to prove. Obviously, this young coach in San Antonio, first time being there, who knows if they'll ever make it back. We know how sports are, but at the same time, we know that he's in a great position to be there a lot with the team that he has and set up with the future. So we're gonna take in this series, I did say I want to take a series prop. I'm gonna take. I like the Spurs in 6. What I'm gonna take is the Spurs to win this series 4-2. I like the Spurs the first 2 games as far as winning straight up. We're gonna handicap spreads and all that when game 2 comes around. But I do like the Spurs to take the first 2. I think the Garden's gonna be rocking. I don't think the Spurs gonna be able to take the first 2 games at the Garden. I expect it to come back to San Antonio 2-2. But then again, after that, I'm sorry, I expect San Antonio to take control of the series, take game 5, and then go back into the Garden, learning from game 3 and 4, and taking game 6 and go ahead and celebrating that championship at the Garden and not letting it get to a game 7. Even though they do have home court, I just think that they want to go ahead and try to get the experience of finishing the team on their home court now. And so I do believe the Spurs win this series in 6, 4-2. The odds on that I seen was 420 plus 420. So give me that. Now, so let's go ahead and recap what we're taking today. We're taking the Spurs minus 4.5 to go ahead and draw first blood at home. I do think game 7 gave them some experience. The Knicks obviously don't have that experience on their bench. So I just think that the Spurs having that, as far as the finals right now, they're both washed. They both, the Spurs have Harrison Barnes with a little bit of experience, so I'll give them that. But other than that, they're both pretty much inexperienced in this position. But the Spurs just knocked off the champs, so I just think that they should be having the sugar high. They went through the fire, they went through a war, whereas the Knicks just pretty much caught a dead animal on the side of the road, filleted them and ate them, and pretty much went on about their day. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the Spurs to draw first blood to try to go ahead and show the Knicks they're not here to fumble, play with them, drop the ball, whatever, fumble the bag, whatever you want to call it. And then for the series, we taking the Spurs to finish this in 6 with the 4-2 as the final for this series at plus 420. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in, chilling with your boy Trouble, Total Payout Podcast. Once again, I want to thank you guys for giving me a couple minutes of your day. Please give me a like, comment, and subscribe at the end of this video. I greatly appreciate that. And like I always say, please stay out the way. We're just all trying to see another day. Thank you. You guys have a great one, man. Enjoy the game. Hey,